The Ogre of Rashomon. Long ago in Kyoto, the people of the city were terrified by, it was said, a dreadful ogre. He haunted the gate of Rashomon at twilight and seized whoever passed by. It was whispered that the ogre was a horrible cannibal who not only killed the unhappy victims but ate them also. Everybody in the town and neighborhood was in great fear, and no one dared venture out after sunset near the gate of Rashomon for fear of the terrible stories. 5 valiant knights came traveling through the province. One night, as they sat at a feast, toasting each other's health and exploits, the first knight, Hojo, said to the others, "Have you heard the rumors about the ogre at the gate of Rashomon?" The second knight, Watanabe, answered him, saying, "Do not talk such nonsense. There is no longer such thing as ogres." "Then go there yourself and find out whether it is true or not," said Hojo. Watanabe could not bear the thought that Hojo should believe he was afraid, so he got ready to go at once. He buckled on his long sword, put on a coat of armor, and tied on his large helmet. When he was ready to start, he said to the others, "Give me something so that I can prove I have been there." One of the men got a roll of writing paper and his box of Indian ink and brushes. Then the 4 men wrote their names on a piece of paper. "I will take this," said Watanabe, "and put it on the gate of Rashomon. So tomorrow morning you will all go and look at it. I may be able to catch an ogre or 2 by then." And he mounted his horse and rode off gallantly. It was a moonless and stormy night, but Watanabe sped on, and at last he reached the gate of Rashomon. Peer as he might through the darkness, he could see no sign of an ogre. "It is just as I thought," said Watanabe to himself. "There are certainly no ogres here. It is only an old woman's story. I will stick this paper on the gate so the others can see I have been here when they come tomorrow, and then I will make my way home and laugh at them all." He fastened the piece of paper, signed by his 4 companions, on the gate and then turned his horse head towards home. As he did so, his helmet was seized from the back. "Who are you?" cried Watanabe fearlessly. He then put out his hand and groped around to find out who or what it was that held him by the helmet. As he did so, he touched something that felt like an arm. It was covered with hair and was as big as the trunk of a tree. Watanabe knew at once that this was the arm of an ogre, so he drew his sword and cut at it fiercely. There was a loud yell of pain, and then the ogre dashed in front of the warrior. Watanabe's eyes grew large with wonder. The ogre was taller than the great gate. His eyes were flashing like mirrors, and his huge mouth was wide open, flames of fire shooting out of it as he breathed. Watanabe never flinched. He attacked the ogre with all his strength, and they fought face to face for a long time. At last the ogre, finding that he could neither frighten nor beat Watanabe, and that he might himself be beaten, took flight. But Watanabe, determined not to let the monster escape, put spurs to his horse and gave chase. But though the knight rode fast, the ogre ran faster, and to his disappointment, Watanabe found himself unable to overtake the monster, who was gradually lost to sight. Watanabe returned to the gate where the fierce fight had taken place, and got down from his horse. As he did so, he stumbled upon something lying on the ground. Stooping to pick it up, he found that it was one of the ogre's huge arms, which he must have cut off in the fight. His joy was great at having secured such a prize, for this was the best of all proofs of his adventure with the ogre. So he took it up and carried it home as a trophy for his victory. When Watanabe got back, he showed the arm to his comrades. They called him the hero of their band and gave him a great feast. His wonderful deed soon traveled to Kyoto, and people from far and near came to see the ogre's arm. Watanabe now began to grow uneasy as to how he should keep the arm in safety, for he knew that the ogre to whom it belonged was still alive. He felt sure that one day or other, as soon as the ogre got over his scare, he would come to try to get his arm back again. Therefore, Watanabe had a box made of the strongest wood and bended with iron. In this, he placed the arm, and then he sealed down the heavy lid, refusing to open it for anyone. He kept the box in his own room and took charge of it himself, never allowing it out of his sight. Now, one night he heard someone knocking at the porch, asking for admittance. When the servant went to the door to see who it was, there was only an old woman, very respectable in appearance. On being asked who she was and what was her business, the old woman replied with a smile that she had been nurse to the master of the house when he was a baby. If the lord of the house was at home, she begged to be allowed to see him. The servant left the old woman at the door and went to tell his master that his old nurse had come to see him. Watanabe thought it strange that she should come at that time of night, but at the thought of his old nurse, who had been like a foster mother to him, and whom he had not seen for a long time, a very tender feeling sprang out for her in his heart. He ordered the servant to show her in. The old woman was ushered into the room, and after the customary bows and greetings were over, she said, "Master, the report of your brave fight with the ogre at the Ogre of Rashomon is so widely known that even your poor old nurse has heard of it. I am very proud to think that my master was so brave as to dare to cut off an ogre's arm. Before I die, it is the great wish of my life to see this arm." "No," said Watanabe. "I am sorry, but I cannot grant your request. Ogres are very revengeful creatures, and if I open the box, he may suddenly appear and carry off his arm." The woman pleaded, but Watanabe refused. Then the old woman said, "Do you suspect me of being a spy sent by the ogre?" "No, of course I do not suspect you of being the ogre's spy, for you are my old nurse," Watanabe said. "Then you cannot refuse to show me the arm any longer," entreated the old woman. "It is the great wish of my heart to see for once in my life the arm of an ogre." Watanabe could not hold out in his refusal any longer, so he gave in at last. He led the way to his own room, the old woman following. When they were both in the room, Watanabe shut the door. Then he went towards a big box which stood in a corner of the room, took off the heavy lid, and called the old woman to come near. "What is it like? Let me have a good look at it," said the old nurse with a joyful face. She came nearer and nearer, as if she were afraid, till she stood right against the box. Suddenly, she plunged her hand into the box and seized the arm, crying with a loud, fearful voice that made the entire room shake. "Oh, joy! I have got my arm back again," and from an old woman, she was suddenly transformed into the towering figure of the frightful ogre. Watanabe sprang back and was unable to move for a moment, so great was his astonishment. But recognizing the ogre who had attacked him at the gate of Rashomon, he determined, with his usual courage, to put an end to him this time. He seized his sword, drew it out of its sheath in a flash, and tried to cut the ogre down. So quick was Watanabe that the creature had a narrow escape. But the ogre sprang up to the ceiling and, bursting through the roof, disappeared in the mist and clouds. In this way, the ogre escaped with his arm. The knight gnashed his teeth with disappointment, but that was all he could do. He waited impatient for another opportunity to dispatch the ogre. but the latter was afraid of Watanabe's great strength and daring and never troubled Kyoto again. So once more, the people of the city were able to go out without fear, even at night time, and the brave deeds of Watanabe have never been forgotten. The end. Well, you can stop here because I just want to rant after this. This is the most difficult story that I have to read, and to be honest, I'm so proud of myself right now. You.